what you know you share, and you shouldn't have any boundaries or barriers to discussion, open discussion. So that started off this whole thought and the way I got into these things, and I've done a lot of these school textbooks and collaborative writing. And then I happened to move to Acharya College as a principal. I mean, that position doesn't stop me from doing anything I like. It actually gives me more freedom. I can do what I like, plus I can get some other people involved. So, I mean, and I use it fully. So, then in 2005, I was called upon by a group of people at Indira Gandhi National Open University who were writing chapters, they were writing courses for a certificate course on entrepreneurship development in bamboo and rattan. Rattan is cane. So they wanted a lot of people to sit all over the country and write chapters together. So at that point of time I was called in, not because I was a botanist, I am a botanist, not because of that, but more because I was used to, helping in collaborative writing, and I could. So I was called in, and at that time, the organizations involved were, one was an international network for bamboo and rattan, the other was IGNU, then there was one Commonwealth of Learning, that was also part of this collaboration that was writing materials for IGNU. I mean, these were supposed to be materials on the net for students. So, Commonwealth of Learning had started thinking of using the Wiki platform for collaborative writing just about that time. This was in mid-2006. So they came to Delhi to explore whether this team could use the Wiki platform. So there was a half a day, exposition kind of a thing. We were shown what to do, how to do. And they went away with the hope that this team of about 20 people from all over the country would use the Wiki platform to write together. Now, of the 20 people, I was the one, I think, alone. I mean, on that day, everybody was excited. We were all excited, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. And we distributed work, we distributed chapters, we did everything possible. And then I said, okay, you people, then we taught them this writing into Wiki requires a little knowledge of syntax. And just remember, I was talking to a group of people who barely use the computer for word processing. Maybe some of them, most of them did emailing, but beyond that, they didn't understand anything. And every time when I talk, I'm talking to people who are like that. For them, computer is for word processing, computer is for storing pictures, and computer is for email. Okay, so when you're talking about syntax, they will totally zonked out. So it's not their scene at all. And you are talking to such a community. So what I told them was, okay, let's do one thing. Whatever you want me to put in that common space, you send it to me and I'll put it up. So that it ended up with almost nobody putting up anything on the web directly. Everything coming to me and I was the person. So that really didn't take off. It was a failed experiment. Any content that's there is because I took efforts and put it up. And that course didn't get completed. Also because in IGNU people at the top changed and the new person who came, he didn't want the success of that course because then it would have been credited to the previous person. So internal politics of IGNU, which I don't want to deal with. But what it did finally is make me into a convert. I started understanding Wiki, and I was also, it's a matter of chance, but right then, the next year when the Wikimania was happening in Taiwan, I got to hear about somewhere, and then I said, oh, I want to go. So I just wrote to Commonwealth of Learning, and I said, I want to go. So I got this, they said, okay, we'll support it. So I went to this Wikimania, and the exposure there, whatever doubts, whatever confusions, and whatever I didn't know, I didn't understand, all that went. Because that's one, Wikimania takes place once a year in different parts of the world, and they do support young people, and there is some funding available. And I was neither young nor working on anything, but I managed to get that. Of course, I didn't get it from the Wikimania people, I got it from Commonwealth of Learning. So when I went there and when I got exposed to all the work, then get to meet all the people, hear them, talk to them, listen to them, and that, sealed whatever, my thing about this thing. So now I'd like to talk about it. So we are talking about, when we say freedom and when you say freedom of software, we all understand. I think the people in this room do understand. But what do we mean when we say freedom of educational content? That is the question. Educational content, MIT puts up its material. Those of you who have anything to do with engineering, we all know that they put up their material. And they claim it is free. But is it free? What is the definition of freedom? The definition of freedom when we talk about software is you should be able to change it. So the same definitions holds for even educational content. Educational content can be called free only if you have the option to change it as you like, adopt, adapt, modify, do anything. So unless educational content is available in that forum, we don't think it's free. And this WikiEducator was, free-flowing thing. So this whole question of whether web resources are free, yes, free to read, but not free to use in any other way, because if you try to download it, most of us have got some, we Indians are very clever, we know how to download things that you're not supposed to download. That's a different thing. But on an average, you cannot download, you cannot photocopy and do any other thing, at least not legally. And materials are copyrighted. And open education resources are learning materials that are available under a Creative Commons license. So the same licenses that we talk about for software, the same licenses hold for open education resources. Absolutely the same. So they are teaching learning materials, research resources that reside in the public domain and have been released under the intellectual property license that permits their free use or repurposing by others. See, why do we need this? There are excellent books. So similarly, there are excellent materials on the web. Why can't we just use them? We are using them only to read. Why can't we just read from them? That question arises. I've been asked it's like this. Most materials are made somewhere in US, in UK, wherever. And the moment I want to use it for my students, obviously I need to contextualize it. Put in Indian examples, put in Indian, and maybe even simplify the language, do many things to it. And if I'm not allowed to do that, it's no use to me, most of the material that's on the web. So we need we should be able to adapt it and repurpose it. So, of course, this slide, some of these slides are, because I made it with a different audience in mind, why I put this slide in is maybe created and used in formal as well as informal streams, because we are trying to get the NGO sector, I mean, this is particularly written for some people in Bangladesh. These are people working on herbal medicines and trying to collect the information and store it in a public domain. So for them I wrote this formal and informal stream. So whatever it is, any educational material, anywhere, if you can put it in a public domain, it will be there forever and we will be able to use it. So what's happened to this, I don't know. Now this again is going off the screen, I don't know why. Anyway, doesn't matter. George Bernard Shaw saying that if I have an idea and you have an idea, if we have an apple each and we exchange apples, we'll have one apple each. But if we exchange ideas, we'll end up at two ideas. Now we know this, all of us know this. But unfortunately, we all believe that knowledge is power and we try and keep knowledge to ourselves unless we are paid to give our knowledge. And it's very unfortunate. And I mean, here I would like to even mention there was a professor of mine. I was a botany student, and when he retired, he said, "There's one thing I'm very sad about." And what was that? He says, "I knew so much of how to identify a particular category of plants. I mean, he's the best in the world. But he felt that it was important that he remained the best, so he didn't teach it to his students. And on his retirement, he was repenting." So that is the way things are. And I remember at one time, I had to work with somebody, I had to edit Hindi materials. And when you type in Hindi, sh and sh, they get mixed up. And there is one single command somewhere that you have to put so that sh remains sh and sh becomes sh. And I remember there was one girl who knew this command and she won't share it with anybody. See, because this is the kind of thing I just cannot understand, I cannot take. And it's all started with that she was the only person who knew Hindi typing. And so suddenly her value goes up because everybody is waiting. We were writing these textbooks for SCRT Delhi. And so we wanted a few words changed here and there, not the whole title. But even to get those few words changed, we had to wait in queue and, I'm busy just now kind of thing. So, so get over it and you learn it yourself. So we learned it. And we started working typing in Hindi. But the sure thing. So there is this sense of power that is there, that we don't like to share, we don't like to, and somehow, it just doesn't gel with me. And I don't understand it. So it's like this. So the WikiEducator community believes that whatever you know, you share. I don't know, why is it all going off screen? Or maybe I'll open I have a PDF. Giving equal run. So basically, when we want to create educational content and when we want to work across distances, what do we normally do? We normally email documents to each other. We use the Gmail document share and we use track changes. How many of you have used track changes? Yeah, and just imagine trying, if 5 of us are using track changes on the same document, what will happen? I mean, we'll go crazy because there will be 6 different colors, 5 colors that we use in the black that is there, 6 different colors, and we won't even know what is happening. So, the idea is that don't do any of these things, just be confident, work in an open domain wiki. And of course, Wikipedia is among the top 10 websites, I don't want to talk about it. And there are 1,000 others, wiki, not 1,000 maybe, 100 other wikis that are around, and WikiEducator is one of them. Now, people might ask, when there is Wikipedia, then why WikiEducator? It's because in an encyclopedia you expect some kind of information. But what happens when you want to write a paper, when you want to give lecture notes about something, experimental protocols, academic discussions, multiple choice question quizzes? They are outside the scope of an encyclopedia. Hence, WikiEducator. And Wayne McIntosh, who was working with the Commonwealth of Learning, he is the one who founded the WikiEducator. This was sometime in early 2006. And then, since then, last year, he moved away from Commonwealth of Learning. His term finished, and now he has founded an International Centre for Open Education based in Otago Polytechnic, New Zealand. And WikiEducator has good funding from Hewlett-Packard and some other people. I mean, funding is not a problem with WikiEducator. Enough to run the servers and keep it going. So basically, WikiEducator promotes community networks and it provides a space for collaboration. Now, all of us might believe that computers are for the young, and especially when you talk about new things like Creative Commons, it's all for the young people. But when we did a survey of the age category of people who are working on WikiEducator, we find that about 50% of the people are about middle-aged. So, and it's right, it's because when we are talking about educational content to be put on the web, you would expect teachers and people like that. And obviously, young teachers would be still too busy trying to get their classes going properly or maybe looking after their families, whatever. Beyond the stage, teachers also start wondering about, what I've been teaching, how I've been teaching, will it just go with me? Can I put it into a domain? Can I put it in that's 45 is the age when people start writing books. I mean, you don't have very many academic authors below 45. Most of them are above 45. So similarly, when you want education content, they'll be all above 45. And why do people join the WikiEducator? To explore new trends and ideas, to learn wiki skills, to develop free content, to grow personally, and to build relationships. And for me, of course, all these are true. But I think the last two, to grow personally, is very true. I suddenly realized what I was and what keeps me happy. And obviously it has helped. I mean, we are not isolated, we are not individuals working singly anywhere. It's a community. It's a huge community and we all know each other. How was WikiEducator governed? WikiEducator, when it started in 2006, it started with a few hundred members, and at some point of time, what Wayne had done was that he had put together an interim board of people he knew anywhere in the world working together. So he put together 10 people. I was also a member of the interim international board. And then we decided as a this thing that once we cross 2,500 members, we'll hold formal elections, online elections. And that was held in 2008. And we have 15 elected representatives from very many different countries, US, Germany, New Zealand, Pakistan, Samoa, Uganda, the list has gone off. And we have 10 nominated members. So, among the elected members, there are two people, me and Pankaj Khare from IGNOU. And then of course India, big country, lot of members. There are two people who are nominated also. One person is from the Kerala State Finance Department, and he is a WikiEducator. He is very, actually he is the one who works maximum in our country and maybe among the top 10 contributors in the world. He is a finance man but heavily into it and fantastic. He is a nodal officer there in the finance department of Kerala. And that's Anil Prasad, but his photograph is not here. And then one other person from IGNOU again, because IGNOU has been in the forefront of this. And then once this community council was elected, then we had elections within this council to elect the chair, the vice chair and the secretary. And I happened to get elected as the vice chair. Now what? How many of you have edited on the wiki? Wikipedia or any wiki? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So basically, the WikiEducator uses the same MediaWiki software, same syntax as for Wikipedia. So for those, I don't know, this is how you want this thing, that what are the things that you can do on the WikiEducator is that you can edit it, and anybody who is an editor is a contributor, is an editor. And what is it? Now, how do I know what was written on this?
Press F5 immediately.
F5. You think I can see that? Page down, I don't get it. What is that? Then it's not opening my this thing. PowerPoint करना पड़ेगा. बिना खोले कोड नहीं. Okay, doesn't matter. Where is the page down? Everything is going on. Okay, and this is. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so what can we do using the WikiEducator? We can create and edit after logging in. In case of Wikipedia, you can edit without logging in. You want to create a new page, you have to create an ID. Here, even for editing, you need to log in. You can upload pictures, videos, audios, upload presentations, PDF. It allows for internal and external links, provides for a hierarchical arrangement of pages, and provides for categorization. It provides for all the things that you need for writing education content. And that is what is important. Now, the moment you talk to educationists, to teachers, and you say that please write something in the public domain, it's no. You sort of, मेरी अंग्रेजी सबको पता लग जाएगा मैं क्या लिखता हूँ, और मैं जो लिखता हूँ वो तो एक बहुत उम्दा चीज है ना कि भाई कोई और तो ऐसा लिख ही नहीं सकता. So it's so great that how can I write in a and give it so that you can use it or you can use it. How can I put it in a? So that's the biggest problem. That people are not willing to write in an open domain. But you get over that. Supposing you do get over that and you talk to them, then they say, supposing I write something very nice, fantastic thing, and some stupid student comes and changes it. What do I do? You know, इसमें तो बच्चे भी बदल सकते हैं. So what do I do? So then we explain to them that there is a history button, and if you go to history, you can recover all versions. Wiki allows, in Wiki, once you have written a thing, you can never erase it. Okay? So any edit, small or big, that anybody has made is always available. So when I tell teachers that you can always recover an old version that you think was perfect, then they sort of, okay, breathe. Chalo, it will not, all is not lost, and we can always, and they're very scared of vandalism. So basically they don't believe in the innate goodness of human beings. And WikiEducator believes in that. The Wiki community believes in that. Whether it's Wikipedia, the Wiki community believes in the innate goodness, honesty of people. There might be a few people who vandalize. There might be some people who are mischief mongers. But in general, people are not too bothered. Because we know that Wikipedia now is almost like a standard reference. And if we believe that everybody is a mischief monger and there will be vandalism, then we could trust that also. So it's a tough thing to get people to understand that everybody is not out to get your posts. And that anyway, you can always recover. And supposing there is an article that I have written and some student comes and vandalizes it, and they suddenly say, how could ma'am have written this? They can actually go back and check whether she actually wrote it or did somebody else write it. Plus they can always recover it. Then watch select pages. WikiEducator allows you that you can put a watch on pages, so that if any changes made on that page you get, just like in Facebook or any other thing. So any change made, you get an email. So that is again people give us silent relief. Come say, I'll come to know when somebody does something to my page, because they still believe that people are not good. Okay. Then of course it allows for every page of the WikiEducator has an attached discussion page, and etiquette and decency demands that before you make any major changes on any page, you would go to the discussion page and have a discussion, suggest something and do it. And the synchronous, I've spelled it wrong. The synchronous discussion is not really very good. The chat thing is not good. Then we've prepared some pedagogical templates. That means, supposing I want to write an article and I'm going to start with the introduction. So you have a template called introduction, you click on introduction, it will come introduction written in a proper way and everything. Next, you have some activities. So these frameworks are available for what goes into educational content. Okay? So it gives you when you start thinking of writing, and you can look at these templates and sort of frame your whole chapter. And what WikiEducator has made possible is that it makes possible to make a collection and print as PDF. You don't have, the pages will not come out as a print screen. Instead of that, it allows collections of, you can put together a book by choosing articles from different places and print it like that. And that is very highly appreciated, especially by the teachers who want to collect articles and use it for their classes. And what's the biggest challenge facing the future of education? That parts of the world, you will still have children not going to school. And since that's the greatest challenge, access to education is a limitation. And for a country like India, we need to make contextual materials for India. And when we say contextual materials for India, obviously Indian context, Indian examples, but also Indian languages. I mean, there's so much material on the web in English, nothing in the local languages. So we believe that, I mean, somewhere some people should start translating materials that are available in English into Hindi and putting it into Hindi and the other languages and putting it into this open space. Then to tap all diverse knowledge sources. I mean, I don't believe that knowledge only resides in the people who have been formally educated. I mean, maybe they don't have any knowledge, they have only some crammed up information. So knowledge resides in the practitioners. So be it the practitioners of traditional music or arts or whatever. So we have to create our storehouse of all that knowledge, and somehow if we can get them to put these materials in an open space, then we at least will not lose our heritage. So we have to take some steps towards that. Then for a teacher like me, we of course teach face to face, and there are lots of textbooks in the library, etc. But then we are used to giving out these handouts and photocopying materials, and we waste so much of paper, energy, money. If you put it in a public domain, then my students will use it, and students from all other colleges anywhere in India, anywhere else, they can use it. So for supplementary and enrichment materials, whatever, a teacher uses a lot of it. And that can also go in the public domain, then you don't have to go printing it all the time and wasting paper. And then to use it as a forum for academic discussions. So I'll just introduce you to the WikiEducator, some pages. The main website is wikieducator.org. And because we had so many members in India, we decided to create a India node for WikiEducator, and this was the India chapter of WikiEducator was launched on 15th November 2008 at India International Center. I'm lucky in one thing, let me be very upfront about it, that since this was spearheaded by Commonwealth of Learning in Vancouver, they have a local office in India, the only office outside Vancouver that is, called Commonwealth Educational Media Center for Asia. Okay, this is in, they recently moved, so I don't know the new place. They were in Subject Development area. So they fund a few things. So when I said, okay, I want to launch an India chapter, they said, okay, you arrange it and we pay for it. So India International came in for free for us. And we got from Nathan to launch it. Now I'm going to show you some materials that are there on the web, mostly put up by Indians. So there is, materials on typically what we teach in classroom. Those are plenty available in textbooks and things like that. But there are other things we know about, we want to share. There is no place to put it. So there was this girl working on plastics. So she's put up all her material on this. This is the certificate course that I had put up. And the content is not from me, the content is from experts, but we're trying to promote people who don't have formal education, to create a space for them where they can share their knowledge and information. So, with support from Commonwealth of Learning, we conducted a lot of workshops in a lot of developing countries. See, Commonwealth of Learning works with only the Commonwealth countries. Okay? So, and they were willing to fund face-to-face workshops, and that happened till very recently. And simultaneously, there is once a month online workshop, free online workshop. So a lot of learning, I mean, people do. So this workshop was conducted in Sri Lanka, where dairy farming was discussed, and I mean, I don't think Sri Lankan farmers would be actually speaking English. So there is a problem here. But there is voiceover in Tamil and things like that. This is on banana cultivation. Somebody in the agriculture university has sat and translated everything and put it on there. So this is the extension activity of an agriculture university working with farmers but putting content in a public domain. This is teacher education, this is RI, no, this is the Department of Science, this thing, DSCRT, Bangalore. They are putting some materials on teacher education. Again, oh, I've got the wrong heading for this is a Chile one. Okay. This is somebody who's put material on the Constitution of Criminal Courts. This is a discussion on the film Namesake. This was done by one of my colleagues in Deen Dayal Upadhyaya College. People have put computer literacy resources online. Lot of PowerPoint presentations are up online. Now I have a question on this, of course. I have a big doubt that these pictures are not free. But anyway, fundamentals of accounting. Now when we launched the Wiki India chapter, at that time we moved to get to try and find people who can do translation and put it. We tried for 5 languages. Hindi, yes, but nothing much has happened in the other languages. And in case of WikiEducator, we all start with one common space, that is the user page. We all have our own user page, and I think he's taken out my photograph from that page.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think so. So the user page, we talk a little bit about ourselves, and we link all subsequent pages that we make to our user page. And this is not the user page, this is just a little bit of the user page. The user page is a long page giving all kinds of details. But here I want to stress on 2 things. One is this: we have a certification about your wiki skills, because for putting on content you do need to learn wiki syntax and you do need to progress slowly. So just to boost, give people confidence that they are learning something, we just like the different colored belts of karate and things like that, we have these certificates. But we haven't gone beyond a point. All of us are blue and nobody is beyond. Nobody is brown and nobody is black belt yet. And then we give a lot of importance to whether we are willing to teach WikiEducator to people. So those of us who are Wiki Neighbor, we call ourselves Wiki Neighbor, and it's a declaration that you are willing to teach it. You give your time free to teach. And of course, those of us who use Linux, we are proud of it. And that's what they elected this thing. And so we go back to our father of the nation, who says, be the change you want to see in the world. And so, that's it. Thank you. So if you have any questions and anything, I'm open.
So what's the distinction between knowledge and education?
Knowledge and education.
You raised that.
I raised the knowledge and information.
Education to... Anyway, what's the
Okay.
difference between the two and the three now?
See, knowledge is I'm part of the group that believes that knowledge is something that you have to create within yourselves. And there's this whole concept of constructing knowledge. People can give you information, but for you, somebody might teach you 2 plus 2 makes 4. You might rote learn it. But for you to understand, the moment you understand 2 plus 2 actually makes 4, at that point of time it becomes knowledge. And that knowledge has to be constructed by each person individually. It cannot be, it's not en masse. And when we say education, actually we try to confuse it with literacy. So there is this whole thing, what is knowledge, what is education, what is literacy, what is information. At the moment, information is taken as knowledge, just being able to read and write is being taken as education. Whereas, we have the meaning of knowledge and education is something much more deeper. And I don't know how many of us can really be called educated. So, that is a question. Knowledge is each one has to create it for ourselves. And that is, you have to go through the process of understanding. And nobody can teach it. When you do teaching, see, there are teachers and teachers. There are teachers who believe just because they've given you a lot of information, they're good teachers. I know young parents who are very proud of their children. Why? My child can name 50 animals. Can reel off, she's able to recognize 50 different animals. And she's able to recognize an animal from New Zealand and anyway. So they feel that child is, fantastic. Whereas if I ask that child, okay, tell me which one of these lives in water or some innocuous question, the child is zapped. And the parent doesn't understand that, what is teaching, and not only parents, a lot of teachers. So this whole thing about giving a space to a child to learn and asking questions, the teacher has to ask questions, more give space to the child to ask questions. So WikiEducator, there are some materials on elementary school. If anybody can get in touch with me by email, I can put you in touch. There's so much of material on elementary school science. And why do we feel that these materials should be put up? Because the textbooks that are written, they are dictated by the press. Yesterday I was talking to somebody from Oxford University Press. And she was saying, ma'am, we are looking for somebody to, do you have anybody who will write books for us? We are looking for people to edit it and all that. So I said, yeah, look, in biology what we need now is a practical book for college students. She said, no, that. So they're not even open to discussions because something is dictated by somebody. So books, I'm talking about academic books, I'm not talking about the other books. Academic books are, somebody dictates, market dictates it. For example, maximum books are there in engineering. Market dictates it. And then the course, what goes into a book is dictated again by what the perception of the child, what the child feels they need to know. I mean, they don't understand what is education, they don't understand what is learning. But because somewhere other things decide, so you don't get to write what you want.
Is it the Indian scenario or generally system?
Where world over, yeah.
But at least in some field I noticed some of the books written by the authors are pretty good. I mean, you mean all the books have been,
See, okay.
depending on
Okay, let me talk about my experience. We were writing books for Delhi government. We were writing books for NCRT. I was the chief advisor for the class 3-4 environmental studies books. I dropped out at the class 5 stage. And then I was also one of the main key people to write the 11th and 12th biology textbook. Okay, so I had some ideas about how a chapter should be written. So this group sat and discussed. They said, okay ma'am, you bring what you think is a good chapter. So I wrote a chapter and I presented it in front of this group of 20 people. They loved the chapter. They found it excellent. But they said, man, ऐसा तो हम लिख देंगे ना हम पकड़ा पड़ेगा हमारे because you are not giving answers. You are asking so many questions and so there is, and most of the people who control these things in the government sector, they are bureaucrats. Okay, a bureaucrat who's today working as a magistrate somewhere, next day he gets posted and looking after some dam, and third day he comes and sits on the education secretary chair. They decide. And they have their own. No, I don't know. I haven't found. I think now the present day NCRT books, I've compared them with books in many places, many countries. I think we have a very reasonably good set, especially the primary books, up till class 8. And the one book that has been written by Yogendra Yadav from here, CSDS. They have written the political, what's it called? It's not even called political science now. No, it's not called civics, it's not called political, and it's a beautiful book. I think these are books everybody should read.
That because I tell you a specific. I recently read a recent book on algebra book for some lower grade students in the US, and he's one of the good authors. I just wondered why I didn't see that book when I was in school. I think there's a difference between how he's reading the book and how we have read the textbook in FMNC.
No, I've gone to US during when I was writing those books, and I actually went and visited a few schools. I sat in classrooms. I brought back a book from there, which was supposed to be considered top. Because what they do, they don't have government publications like we do have. What they do is everybody writes their own books, and the best books that the school thinks is the best, they are picked up and used. But it was so information laden. Everywhere giving information is being thought of as education. The last 5 years NCRT has done something great.
Recent textbook I haven't read. Mine is like my school.
No, read some of the recent. No, I'm not saying all of them.
Okay.
At least about 40-50% of them are excellent. You read the social sciences of the middle school. Or read the primary maths. Any of you got small children? Go through it's called Mathemagic, class 1 to 5. Mathemagic is beautiful books. Nothing, and now what I want is I want these books to be put in the public domain. I tried to talk to the NCRT director many times.
But you say public domain, you mean real dedication to the public domain?
Yeah. So what they do is they have put these books online. The PDF versions are there online.
Yeah.
But I want that, suppose I want to pick it up and I want to change a few examples and use it for my class. I want to create a test. So, and they are given 5 examples. I just want to tweak some of those so that it becomes a test for my students. I can't do it. I'll have to retype everything. PDF, you know what it is. So, I mean, and most people don't understand the difference between what is present in the.
Why does an NCRT want to dedicate it to the public domain? I think it is being